This video is going to give you an overview of Google Drive. So the first thing we're going to talk about is where do we find Google Drive? Not only where is it on your computer, but just where is it? You'll hear people say that it's cloud-based and all your stuff is just in the cloud, but that's not entirely true. It's really stored in data centers or server rooms in various locations. Let's take a look at where to find it on your computer. So you have two ways to access your Google Drive. One way is to go to this little tile of squares that I like to call the waffle. So when you click here, you will find the Drive icon. And once you click, all my files will load. So I have all of my files here. I'm going to go to a new tab. The other way you can access your Drive is by simply using the URL. So Google has set up a pretty basic naming protocol that if you go to drive.google.com, it's blue so I don't have to type it all out. So I'm just going to hit enter and it's going to take me to my Drive as well. The same thing works for slides, so slides.google.com, docs.google.com. So that's their little protocol that they have. So you can see I have quite a few files, but sometimes depending on what I'm looking at, I might need to change my view. So the view I'm in now is called List View, and if I click right over here, I can change it to Grid View where I have larger icons. So I could go over here, look at my training video site, go back. Okay, I'm a fan of List View, so I typically use that unless I'm looking at pictures. Now, one of the other things that you're going to be able to do to help assist the navigation of your files are these little arrows. Notice I have an arrow over here, and that works like a button. It kind of buttons everything up so that it's nice and neat. So if I come over here and I unbutton, oh, I've got more triangles. So what I can do is I can continue to unbutton my folders for what I need to look at. See if I have any in Classroom. Yes, I have a couple in Classroom. Now the benefit of using this over here at the side is Google is very pro drag and drop. So if I have this Forms folder that I would like to move over here to Newsletters, I can just click it and it is going to go over in Newsletters, as you can see right here. It says, hey, Forms has been moved from my Drive to Newsletters. Do you want to undo that? So I had a moment that I could click that. But I'm just going to leave it there for now. So that's one of the benefits of the arrows, is you can dig down deeper into some of your things. Now the other thing is sometimes you're looking for a document, you need to sort it. Maybe you want to open a document that was last opened by me, maybe last modified by me. Or maybe I want to sort it by who the owner is. But I typically do mine by name, and you can click the arrow and reverse the sort direction. So you can sort by owner, last modified, you can even sort by size. So I'm going to come over to the side and I'm just going to button up this Drive. Notice how it makes a nice difference. It cleans this side up for me. I can also look for shared with me items there. But first, let's take a look at how to delete. So I have some documents inside a training video site. So I have a couple of ways that I can delete an item that I don't need. I can look to see if it's shared with anyone because there's not the little outline of a person there. And I can just highlight it. You see how it's blue? I can click this trash can and remove. Or if my document is open, I can go to File, Move to Trash. So because the document was open at this point, it gives me this scary little window that makes me think I've done something wrong. But all I need to do is close the tab that this document is located in. But for right now, I'm just going to take it out of the trash. Close that tab. I'm going to delete it from my file. So it's highlighted blue. Hit remove, and that one's just gone. The difference is if the file is open and you're actively using it, it wants to make sure that you intended to do what you did. So now let's take a look at how to delete a file. So I'm going to go to My Drive. I'm going to highlight at Training Video. Notice that I have a trash can right here, and I can just remove, just like I did before. I can also highlight it here where it's highlighted blue, and I can remove it that way as well. So it says the open folder has been trashed. So do you want to restore it? I want to continue. So everything that was in the folder was put in the trash as well. So when you're deleting folders, be really careful that you're deleting what you want to. And I always check to see if I have items that are shared with other people. Like this document is a shared document. You can see the outline of the person. Because if I've intended to give that to someone, they may still be using it, and when they go to use it, if I've deleted it, it won't be available to them any longer. So next, let's take a look at how to rename. So if I have this folder, Newsletters, if I right-click on Newsletters, you're going to see that I have the option to rename. So I'm going to keep it Newsletters. I'm just going to make it a little more specific. Newsletters for the 18-19 school year. Going to select OK, and that's instantly changed. So I can do the same thing with a document. So I have this document. I set this one up just to show name changing. If I right-click on this document, I can rename just as I did with the file, with the folder. If the document's open, it's even easier to change the name. I can click. I want everything to be blue. And I'm going to call this one now Document 2.3. And just click out of that box. So as long as it's highlighted like this, the name change hasn't gone into effect. So you do need to click out of it where it doesn't have that little box around it. Now, the other thing that we have that happens with Google is Google Drive is very collaborative friendly. So you're going to have a lot of things in Shared with Me. Now, the tough thing with Shared with Me is it can turn into a hot mess really, really fast. So what you're going to want to do is items that you want to have access to. Like I've got this one that I have set up that I can delete later. So I'm going to highlight this one. Notice it's highlighted in blue. And I've got the Google Drive symbol with the plus. I can add it to my drive. Then I have the option to organize it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Organize your files as you go, because if you decide you're going to go back and do it later, it's another hot mess. So I want this in, let's see, I want to put it in dynamic troubleshooting. So I'm going to move it there. I have the option to undo. And the thing I want you to notice is it's still here. all of your items that are shared with you are going to stay in your shared with me area. So let's go take a look at my drive and see if it's where I moved it. It has been moved to the dynamic formula troubleshooting area that I wanted to. Notice it shows that it's shared and it shows who the owner is. Now, if I decide I don't want this in my drive anymore, it's not something that's beneficial to me, I can remove it. And the best part is, it is still in my shared with me folder. I haven't gotten rid of it. I've just moved it away from my drive. So it's still shared with me. It's not in my stuff. Another thing that we want to make sure that we understand how to do is to move our files around. So a file may start off in one spot and we realize, oh, I really need it over in this spot over here. As we discussed earlier, you can always drag and drop. So I can use these arrows and open this up. Let's say I wanted to move my newsletters. I don't have to go to the stuff that's over to the side. I can drag and drop in this main body as well. Notice how you have the dark blue outline. That's letting me know what folder it's going to go into. But notice over here when I drag to the side where there's an arrow, it opens up the arrow. So if I go into here, so I can drag it into subfolders quite easily over to the side. I can also go the other way. I can drag this whole folder into a different folder in my main body. Now, my favorite way to do this, and it just helps me stay organized, is just to go to the folder that I want to go to. So if I would like to create a document that I want to be in my PD folder, notice the breadcrumbs at the top. It always lets you know where you are. Notice how this is highlighted over to the side as well. So if I create a new document, first thing I'm going to do is name it. It's highlighted blue so I can just start typing. Type a little Swedish. So I'm going to close this document. And notice that it didn't show up right away. If you ever have a document that once you've created it, it doesn't show up immediately, you can always hit the refresh bar at the very top left of your address bar. So when I do that, PD demo shows up. Now the other thing I can do is I can have my document open, and you're going to notice that there's a little folder that's going to appear right here. There it is. So if I hover over it, it says Move To. Well, where do I want to move it? So I've decided I don't want it in my PD folder. Notice I have the arrow, so I can back out of that. Now I'm in my drive. Well, I want to create a new folder to place it in, so I can do that on the fly. And I'm going to put the @ symbol. Well, I'm just going to name it trash. That way I can remember to throw this away. Now it says this folder is empty. I could also create another subfolder if I wanted, or I can just move it to that location. I have the option to undo it. You'll notice here. Now let's go to this. Let me go to my drive. There is my trash folder. If I double click, PD demo is right here. So it's really important to understand how to move your files around. And this concludes our overview.